Hey there, welcome to Have Clubs Will Travel. I'm David Wood, author of Around the World in 80 Rounds. And in my experience, in all my travels, there's one place to play the ancient game of golf that tops all the others. It's fun, thrilling, joyous, sometimes frustrating, but a thrill nonetheless. And that's going to Scotland, venturing over to the Kingdom of Fife, and playing the Old Course at St. Andrews. It's truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You know, and we know golf has been played in Scotland since at least the 1400s. The 1400s. Because King James II, this guy here, who looks like he could have used a little fun outdoors, but looks a little anemic. But he banned the game in 1457 because the citizens were loving this new pastime and they were out there playing golf, but they were neglecting their archery practice. And, you know, Scotland needed archers. They still had to worry about wars with England to the south, and the Danes would come over periodically across the North Sea. So they needed a strong army. So in 1457, he banned the playing of golf, which lasted for about, 40 years or so until sanity was restored in 1502 when King James IV of Scotland said, hey, we're the birthplace of golf. Go play golf. It's a great game. And from there, the game exploded. And by the way, the first time any specific golfer is mentioned in history, it was a woman, Mary Queen of Scots, who loved to play golf. She kept a cabin in St. Andrews, and she loved to be outdoors, and she really took to this new game everybody was playing. And in 1567, she was roundly criticized for playing a round of golf within a fortnight of the funeral of Lord Darnley, who happened to be her freshly murdered husband. People didn't like that. She was supposed to be a mourning, but I liked the way she was thinking. She was a golfer. What was she gonna do? I could just picture her sitting there, I'm sitting here wearing black, I'm indoors, I'm mourning, but hey, he's dead, I'm alive, I got a tee time, I'm gonna go play golf. And the modern routing of the Old Course that we know today, we owe to old Tom Morris, who, born in St. Andrews, was one of the true pioneers of the game of golf. He was one of the first golf professionals, one of the first groundskeepers. He was a prolific player who won a slew of open championships. And he was, of course, the father of young Tom Morris, who was the Tiger Woods of his day. And in around about 1863, Old Tom separated the 17th and 1st green, which were a double green, into two separate greens. And that's the routing we have today. There are 7 double greens at St. Andrews and 4 single greens. And the course has held up for hundreds and hundreds of years and is an absolute blast to play. And there's so many incredible moments on the Old Course at St. Andrews. I mean, right from the first tee shot on, which is nerve-wracking, you're right in front of the Royal and Ancient Clubhouse. You can just feel the history and the atmosphere, and the golf gods are up in the heavens just looking right down on you. And somehow you battle your nerves, you get it down the fairway, and you just walk right out of town. One great hole on the Old Course after another. It's OB on the right and bunkers and trouble everywhere on the left. And the whole game at St. Andrews is to avoid the bunkers as they are truly penal. Especially on the backside. I mean, invariably the back nine plays into the wind and there's bunkers everywhere. For example, on the 13th hole, avoid the coffin bunkers on the left on your drive because they're a basic nightmare. On the next hole, the par 5 14th, do everything you can to avoid Hell Bunker, which is this cavernous hazard right in the middle of the fairway. And of course, the road hole bunker on number 17. It guards this little narrow sliver of a green on what is perhaps the greatest par 4 in the game. With this very unusual tee shot, you hit a blind tee shot over the shed of the Old Course Hotel. You hope your ball finds the fairway, and on your second, do everything you can to avoid the road hole bunker because it's almost impossible to get it out and onto the green. I always like what the great golf writer James Finnegan said about the road hole. He called it a villain of the darkest hue, and it is. Par is elusive, but just enjoy the experience. And then you get to the 18th tee, which is one of the great tee shots in the game. You've got the old town on the right, the Royal and Ancient Clubhouse on the left, this incredibly wide fairway. You just hit your drive as hard as you can at the clock on the Royal and Ancient Clubhouse, go over the bridge, and you're walking on the same land that every great golfer of his generation has walked on. Old and young Tom Morris, Harry Vardon, Bobby Jones, Sam Snead, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Tom Watson, Nick Faldo, Tiger Woods. They've all played the old course, and now you have too. It's the greatest experience in the game, bar none. All right, here's how you can go play the old course at St. Andrews. There's 4 basic ways to do it. Number 1 is you can contact St. Andrews Links directly. You can do this on their website, over the phone, or in person, and they book tee times about a year in advance, but you got to be on top of that because those go quick. Or they also have winter packages through St. Andrews Links, and they include a time on the old course. Again, very coveted, go fast. You got to be on top of that to the nth degree. By the way, make sure you have a handicap card because for playing the old course and booking a tee time, you have to have a handicap card. Number 2 is you can go through what is called an authorized provider of tee times for the old course. And these are hotels and tour companies and golf vacation companies. And number 3 has worked for me many times, and that's entering the ballot. Golf in St. Andrews is very democratic, and the St. Andrews Links Trust sets aside nearly half the tee times on the old course for the ballot. Here's how you do it. You can enter either online, over the phone, or in person, for anywhere for 2 to 4 golfers, and you have to enter 48 hours in advance of the day you want to play. And all entries need to be in by 2 p.m., and then you find out at 4:30 p.m. that same day whether you're going to get to play the old course in 2 days. I recommend going to St. Andrews for several days. If you don't get on the ballot the first time, you keep trying it. Invariably it works. The only day there isn't a ballot is Friday because the old course closes on Sunday. So again, a great way to do it, and good luck. Number 4 has always worked for me too, is that you go down day of and get in line, a singles line in essence, that forms about 6 in the morning. Usually there's like 10 golfers, and they're all pretty hardcore golfers because they're playing the old course, and you get to talk to each other. And it's pretty cool is that when there's openings throughout the day, which invariably there are, they ask that group if they wouldn't mind if 1 or 2 players or whatever join them, and they tend to say yes. And you could get to play the old course that way. So many ways to do it. It's well worth it, however, whatever vehicle works for you. So go play the old course. It's the greatest experience in the game. See you next time. Have fun. Take care.